calling video ring.
A space projectile has just left the planet Earth.
What can we do? Our only chance is to flash between them before they meet.
Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of Space Colonization with me, Bob. Me. Now, what the series is going to be about is basically sort of looking at the issues and possibilities involved in space colonization. Space colonization is a difficult thing to do, or will be a difficult thing to do, no question. And there's a lot of issues we got to sort of talk about first. Assuming we could ever get enough people interested in actually doing it, which is another issue entirely apart from the point of this series. I have no particular experience with politics, and so I can't really tell you how to mold people's state of mind in such a way as to get them to support space colonization. I don't know how to do that. Another thing is that I am not a scientist. I am not a scientist. People think I'm a scientist. People think I'm a mad scientist sometimes, but I am not a scientist. And so I'm taking this from the point of view of a very enthusiastic amateur who has studied the issues involved over a number of years, but I am not a professional at this. So the issues we're going to be addressing today are, first, why colonize space? And second, issues related to, well, we'll get to that in a minute. First, why colonize space? Probably the most, there are lots of people who are saying there are perfectly sensible ways of getting resources from asteroid in such a way that it's actually profitable, cost-effective. That's entirely something different from, in a sense, from colonization, because you can do all that with robots. You don't need people. Reasons for space colonization, as far as I'm concerned, are, one, this planet has all the human beings that there are. There aren't any anywhere else. So if there's a mass extinction event that wipes out all human beings, there are no more human beings. If there's a mass extinction event that wipes out all life, or all, multicellular life, then there is no more multicellular life, as far as we know, in the universe. And that's a very important thing. I'm not furthering the interests of the long-term survival of the human race simply for the sake of the human race. The human race is a species of life on this earth, and the most important thing is to actually promulgate life, to actually get life off this world, or to have other outposts of life in the universe. So that the experiment of life, if it is something that only extends to this planet, will continue. And human beings obviously will be the first part of that. But I don't take it from a speciesist point of view. I think that we should need to get life off this. We need to get life to other planets, other bodies, and of course, human beings are probably the most effective means to that end. And so I want to get human beings off this body, Earth also. But the most important thing is, we're not the end result of life. We're simply a branch of life, and so to get life itself to other planets, to other places, other ecosystems, other environments, to me is a very worthy thing. And of course, keeping the human race from becoming extinct isn't too bad either. So I suppose, in terms of explaining to people why we want to colonize space at all, that would be a biggie. One, having a plan B for the human race, and two, most importantly, spreading life to other ecosystems, other planets, other places. Probably most of the other reasons why you'd want to colonize space fall well down that list somewhere. Those are probably the big two. Because we know mass extinction events have happened before, and we know that probably they're going to happen again. Maybe they won't wipe out the human race, or maybe they'll wipe out the human race and not wipe out the rest of the ecosystem. Maybe the rest of the ecosystem will be glad we're gone. But in any case, spreading this experiment called life, I think, is a good thing. And so that's why I'm in favor of it. And I don't take that from a human-centric point of view. I would like, honestly, for Mars to be reserved from human colonization until such time as we can terraform it and actually, have forests on Mars, lakes and forests and rivers and a whole complete ecosystem, not a contained human-made ecosystem like in a spaceship or maybe in a space colony type situation where you have plants that just exist to take care of the atmosphere. A whole ecosystem would be nice at some point. Problem is that we're probably 1,000 years from being able to being able to terraform Mars. So in the meantime, we ought to need to get out and see what's out there and start living in space. That's another reason why you should colonize space, which is that we're never really going to know what's out there until we start living there. There's actually the moon. The moon, in cosmic sense, is real close. It's a very, very close, very short trip, relatively speaking, from here to the moon. There's a lot of questions we don't know about. We don't have answered about the moon. We don't even know for absolute sure. There was a lot of talk about ice in the South Pole. We don't even know for absolute sure that there is ice on the South Pole because nobody's ever gone there. I mean, we have had different readings. We had one reading of hydrogen in the South Pole, and we had another reading that turned out to be not ice but reflective rocks and stuff. So we won't know until we go there. So those are the rationales for colonization. One, having an alternate place for human beings to live. Two, most importantly, having alternate places for life itself to exist. And three, if we want to find out about the universe, we're probably going to have to live there. I think that's just, we're not going to be able to do everything with robots, and probably we're never going to fund enough robots to do the job, even if it's possible for them to do it, unless we're actually out there doing stuff. So that's sort of the first part of what I was going to talk about today. The second part is exploration. We're going to need a lot of resources for our colonies and stuff, and we can't get those resources if we don't know where they are. Again, that's what I was talking about the South Pole of the moon. We don't know what form that hydrogen will take, if it's even there, until we explore it a bit, Which, I don't know why SpaceX just doesn't decide to send a rocket up. I mean, it would only take one Falcon 9 rocket to send some sort of lander to the moon sufficient to understand what form that the hydrogen at the South Pole is in, if it is in fact there. So exploration. Two parts of exploration. One is we can't get the resources until we know where they are and what they are. Two, Western civilization, at least, and probably most civilizations, have had a strong tendency to destroy something before they understand it. We're busy destroying the Amazon rainforest, for instance, which could have medicines in it, plant medicines in it, of untold, incalculable value, and perhaps the only place where that plant lives that cures cancer is being clear-cut, this afternoon, this evening. So we shouldn't go just grabbing resources until we've actually done the science to understand what it is we're grabbing, what it is we're screwing up. It could be, obviously there's probably no life on, say, the asteroids, but there could be scientific knowledge that is there, which would be ruined if we just go there and grind up a bunch of asteroids and send back the water or whatever. So exploration is important. One, so that we know what's there and where it is and how to get it. And two, so that we don't lose opportunities for science. Science! Science! Before we really can get colonization going too much, we really need to explore more. And probably mostly that's going to be robotic explorers. There's no super compelling reason to send humans right now, even to the moon. I know that's going to be, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people. But what we need most of is more robotic missions to places like the moon and the asteroids. Okay, examples of things that I had to shut the video off for a second, so I'm restarting. Examples of things that we need to find out through exploration. One example would be we have some indications that there are some hydrogen compounds at the south pole of the moon. Excuse me. We don't know very much about that. There was some indication that there might be ice on the south poles. There's some indication now that wasn't ice at all. That what they were getting as far as the radar return signature, the bright stuff they were getting off that was actually rocks. We don't know that much about the condition of the hydrogen at the South Pole. We need to send a probe there to find out. Another thing we need to find out, there may be, the moon is very poor in volatile materials. Carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, those sorts of things, very uncommon on the moon. We don't know that much about whether any of those materials might collect underneath the surface of the moon. In other words, just like on Earth, there are permeable layers of rock, and say natural gas percolates up in those layers till they reach an impermeable layer. It's possible that there could be those sorts of resources on the moon. We simply don't know, and we won't know until we go send something there to drill and find out. Or actually probably several things. We probably need to scout out several potential spots where we know there may be some sort of permeable layer that we can penetrate. Some sort of non-permeable layer we can penetrate, drill down below that, and see if we pick up any gas. Use like a fracturing technique like they use for natural gas. Possible there could be significant resources there, and we'll never know until we do something about it. We pretty much know that there's water in certain types of asteroids, but we need to go there and bring back samples and find out what exactly is there and how we can best make use of it. So those are important exploration steps that we need to take before we can even really think about colonization. And in addition, there are many other steps that we need to take as well. That's just the most first basic step is finding out what's there, finding out how to get it, and also finding out what kind of science we can pick up along the way. So that's all for this first episode of Space Colonization with Bob. And if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Okay? Goodbye.